We tell you this at the start of every single show, not to downplay what is going on, but to report what the media is not telling you. You know that 80% of all cases in Australia will be mild. Well, these are also a number that it is about more time that my colleagues in the media would start talking about. You can see of the 169,000 cases globally, 77,000 people have recovered. Now, I'm not literally jumping over 6,500 people dying. That's horrific. Each and every one of them a tragedy, no question. But when we're in the times that we are in, where the million-dollar doomsday preppers who exist in parts of the media are trying to instill fear, you need to know that for 80% of people it's mild, and for a lot of people there was light at the end of the tunnel. So, every night we do the good, the bad and the ugly about the day in coronavirus, but we're not going to dominate the show with it. There are lots of other things to get to. Now, the goodest of good, potentially, is a vaccine coming from here in Australia. There are scientists right now that are working all over the country. One of the first people to be able to get on top, to be able to replicate the virus, was a lab in Melbourne. Well, we learn today that there is a lab in Queensland that claim they are very close to doing this and that they are about to head their way towards a drug trial. We will talk on this program in the next few minutes to one of those doctors, a professor who thinks he is right at the line that could be a game changer for the globe. He is exclusively on this show in a couple of minutes' time. Another bit of good news. More stimulus might be coming when it comes to the economy. Now, the Prime Minister has said this to anyone who's actually listening, which is that every decision that is made today is not a forever decision and is not the final decision. Last week, there was $18.5 billion worth of stimulus that goes specifically to small businesses, to businesses basically, to be able to go off and buy things, especially to be able to do so at zero or very close to interest rates, depending on how you get your money from around the world. Also, there's going to be a lot more support that's needed for certain businesses, certain industries. That's another example of the good. In fact, here is the Prime Minister talking to Neil Mitchell this morning about how this is a very different situation than the GFC. We knew that the GFC was about debt problems, overextended banks, fake mortgages and all of that. Well, this is something that is far more amorphous, a bit more like wrestling smoke.
It's going to have very significant economic impacts, and we're going to keep revisiting those issues as much as necessary. It's going to be, I mean, this is nothing like the GFC. This has got well beyond that now. Yeah. I mean, in the GFC, we didn't have to shut down the borders. In the GFC, we didn't have to stop mass gatherings of the public. I mean, this is of an order well beyond what we saw last time.
Another bit of the good that we should tell you about tonight is that there are medical professionals who have now had enough of some of the fear-mongering that is going on, particularly in the media and particularly some of the lies that are being told. And also, there is a real want in the American media to try to make it seem like Donald Trump is a fool and doesn't know anything that's going on, is sending the wrong message, is literally spreading the disease around the White House. We've seen nonsense like that here in the past couple of days where the government haters will do everything they can to try to make it seem like it's bushfires 2.0, but it's not. Well, the Chief Medical Officer in the United States was on a television station that has been talking endlessly about how at a time of social distancing, he was apparently doing the wrong thing by touching the same microphone as Donald Trump. Quite correctly, he says there's nothing to worry about.
I want to take a look at this picture. You actually touched the same podium. I'm sure you've seen this in microphone as the president and other CEOs, even at the same time. The vice president has taken a test for coronavirus. He tested the president has tested negative, I should say. Has Vice President Pence, have you taken a test? Are you going to take a test?
No. Well, I'm not taking a test for the summer reason. I have no symptoms. I have not. I'm practicing pretty good social distancing. I don't go to.
But it's hard to fully do it as we see.
But not everybody in the United States should take a test. I mean, I have no symptoms. There's no reason for me to take a test. If I'm in a situation where I'm at a higher risk, I will take a test. The picture you showed about the microphone, let's get real here. I mean, there are certain things that you have to do. If I left the microphone at that, you would see nothing but the microphone. My putting my 2 fingers to get the microphone down isn't that bad. So I don't think we should make something of that.
Good. And there's some good and some ugly when it comes to shopping in Australia. The good news is that the supermarkets have made a big decision, which is they are going to close an hour early so they're able to restock, and also they're going to make sure that there is an hour a day exclusively for elderly shoppers. So you don't have to be concerned that someone's going to barrel you over, push you out of the way. You can take your time. This is a really good idea. This is a perfect example of the overall theme of our approach at the moment. Hope over fear. Private companies, communities will come up with solutions to make life as normal and comfortable as possible. This is Woolworths making that announcement today.
I understand that some of our vulnerable customers won't be able to visit our stores so early in the morning. So from Thursday, we will be offering care packages for our customers, which will be filled of basic essential items that if they just come to the customer service desk in our stores, the teams can support them and help them by giving them those products.
Brilliant stuff. Well done to Woolies in particular. Coles is following on with something similar, but well done. This is exactly how private industry can help people who are otherwise finding it that they don't want to run the gauntlet of people rushing and pushing and shoving in the shops.